Share this too. Let's see. What's up, everybody, man? Appreciate y'all tapping in. This the SKOL Live. We got Dave. Y'all already know Dave in the building. And we got Wobby, man. Oh, boy. Appreciate you tapping in with us tonight, Wobby, man. We're going to definitely get into some stuff, man. We're going to talk some football, definitely some purple. You already know we got to do that.
Well, I'm not.
That.
Hey,
yeah,
I'm not good at doing very many things, but that's one thing I can try and do. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad you guys reached out and wanted to do this. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Definitely, man. We're going to get into that right after this right here. Man, how we feeling tonight? Look, the Vikings coming off of a crazy win, first of all, right? So, I mean, the roller coaster of emotions was just crazy on Sunday. Man, and that's what our team does. They tend to put us through those type of emotions. But at least we came out on the winning side. I mean, first question, Wobby. If you want, man, introduce yourself. Tell everybody what you have going on so that the viewers can make sure they go subscribe to your podcast and just tell a little bit about yourself if you may.
Well, I appreciate that, Rap. Thank you. And Dave, Dave and I were going back and forth a little bit this week on social, and so very much appreciate you guys engaging with me, and happy and looking forward to doing this. I did launch a new podcast. I got a couple of partners who are doing it with me. It's Giles, Uhlenhop, and Chase. And, they do a lot of the dirty work behind the scenes. I kind of show up and get in front of the microphone and talk. So I really appreciate those guys for what they're doing. And we've called it the Wobcast 2.0. And the reason for that, for any listeners who aren't aware, I did have a podcast when I was with the Vikings. I was with the team for 15 years, and at some point during that run, we launched a podcast, and we called it the Wobcast. So wanted to, even though I'm not with the team anymore, I'm independent from the club, I still wanted to engage with the community and the fan base. And I always thought that, one of my favorite parts of the job with the Vikings guys was doing what you guys do, and that's producing content and interacting with fans. Aside from going to games, that was really what I loved doing the most. And there was more to the job than that, but that was the thing that I really loved doing. So that's the purpose behind the Wobcast 2.0, is to carry on a tradition as much as I can by calling it the Wobcast, by doing a podcast, but to separate myself from the club and to make everyone know that I'm independent from the team, but I'm still in Vikings Nation, just like you all are, and want the best for the team. Have a lot of friends with the organization still, and wish nothing but the best for those guys and gals.
Hey, for sure, man. You got a lot of fans, Wobby. I'm gonna tell you that, man. They shouting you out in the chat.
Yeah,
man.
the chat's going crazy
to see
already.
Wobby. Shit, they almost going more crazy for you than they went for.
Man.
Than they went.
I got them brainwashed.
Foreman earlier.
No, that's what I do. I just brainwash people. That's all. That's it. There's nothing special.
Yeah. You got more viewers right now than I had earlier with Chuck Foreman. So
yeah, Dave had Chuck Foreman,
awesome.
man. They interviewed Chuck Foreman just an hour ago, man. They had him on, the legend, and Wobby out here got more fans than Chuck right now. What's going on, man?
And I don't know why that is, because Chuck was Rookie of the Year and one of the best players in team history. So, I hope people go back and watch that on demand, because what Chuck Foreman says goes in my book.
That's a fact.
He's about to get 53 Facebook Viking fan clubs to know who he and know more about him when I push that out.
Good.
Tonight,
you should do it. I like Chuck. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I remember being in Mankato every summer for training camp, guys, and Chuck would always come down, and he wasn't looking for anything. He was looking to give, his time and attention to fans. And I always enjoyed my interactions with Chuck when he was down there. So
yeah,
I'll tell you one thing. After the show was over, he actually called me up to thank me for what, for having him on,
sure.
and to talk about the old players. So his words exactly. So he was just a trooper. And he's a good ambassador, like yourself, a good ambassador for the Minnesota Vikings. And that's why we wanted to have you on tonight.
Well, thank you, Dave. It's my pleasure to be here. Truly my pleasure. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure, man. So let's get into some shout outs real quick. Let's just shout out everybody. Wobby, that's what we do. We love to just let the fans know that we see them. They in the building. We're gonna shout out Eli, my boy Eli, man. SKOL Mafia in the building, man. My SKOL bro, that's for sure. We got James in the building, Mark, McAndrews. Appreciate y'all tapping in. We got Travis, Wobby, we love you. We got the Purple Code Canada in the building, man. Gaming with Al in the building. Appreciate y'all. Josh in the building. SKOL, everybody. Look, we should all be on a high right now. We should all be on a high right now. So Wobby, if you don't know, man, I'm the one, like, I'm sipping purple Kool-Aid. I've been sipping purple Kool-Aid since like week 3. I'm gonna just keep it real. And they all gonna tell you, I've been riding for the Vikings heavy. When you got some people that are we're kind of still, you know, well, it's the Vikings, you know how the Vikings do, they gonna let us down. Nah, I was all in from the get-go. And I feel good right now saying that we 8-1. You know, so how you feeling, Wobby, about the team being 8-1 right now? Like, what's your vibes about the squad?
Yeah. You know, I always try to, you know, I always want to come across as calculated and, you know, thoughtful about it. But there's some elements to this thing that are intangible and emotional. And I really think the Vikings have that part of it going for them right now. It's almost like there's a cheat code on these games. And it's like, no matter what the other team does, it's not going to work. The Vikings are going to win. You know what I mean? And that is not a criticism of them. That's really actually a compliment of them. It speaks to the culture that has been built there, I think, in the locker room. And it speaks to the belief that they have in each other, because there are some games this season that they really had no business winning. But I think just through pure, you know, through pure just emotion and grindiness, they got it done somehow. And so what I end up thinking is, man, just wait till they actually start playing really well. I mean, they're not playing that great. And they're winning these games. What's going to happen when they're playing great, which I truly believe they will do eventually this season? I think they're going to be really hard to beat then. And you know, you always have seasons, you know, every season you get games you won that you should have lost and games you lost that you should have won. And right now the Vikings are winning all those games. I mean, I think almost every game they've won, other than the Green Bay game, has been a 1-possession game, and they're winning those. They were losing all those last year, guys. They're winning them this year. And so, you know, I think all arrows are pointing up for them. And one of the most interesting dichotomies I think that's happening, guys, is Kirk Cousins is having his worst season statistically since he has become a starter in the National Football League, but he's having his best season when it comes to his win-loss record. That's very interesting to me. I don't know how to read into that, but it's a fact, and it's a really interesting caveat to this season so far, which has been a very fun season to watch.
That's a fact, man. Hey, great take on it. Hey, Dave, you got anything? You got anything you want to ask?
Wobby's got a stat guy that's he utilizes on his show quite a bit, and one of the things I found out is that the league is down. So the fact that he's having his worst statistical year as a Viking, he's still ranking 7th in yards and 9th in touchdowns. So and he was 9-9 last year. So even though he's down, the league is down, but comparatively to the rest of the league, he's actually doing pretty good, which is I think it has a lot to do with that Donatel defense that he brought to us, that other people are playing around the league. They're playing too high safety and keeping the ball in front of them and not giving up big plays. So it seems like it's almost a product of what the league is going on right now. Do you feel like that's something to do with it?
I think that's possible, Dave, for sure. You know, the other thing is there's just a mojo and a momentum, and there's an intangible quality that this team has that they had in 2017 with Zim. I think they had it to some extent in 2015 with Zim. They certainly had it in 2009 with Brad Childress. And I think they had it in 2004 with Mike Tice also, where there's just like you know, like an ultra human being that is assisting them or guiding them to victory in some of these situations. And it sounds like, if you're not careful when you explain this, it sounds like you're taking something away from the success. And I really don't mean to be doing that. I'm trying to add to it. It's something that they've built and they've been intentional about. And I don't know if you guys caught it, but there was an article on SI.com on Monday that talked about this Vikings-Bills game, and I wish I could remember the author.
Is it Will Raggets?
It might be.
Because I love him and I quote him all the time.
Okay.
I actually do videos on Will Raggets. So,
okay, so it might be him, and if it is
him,
I want to compliment him or her, whoever it is. But they talked to O'Connell after the game, and he's like, I know everyone's going to talk about this Justin Jefferson catch, and that's the play everyone saw, but the play everyone didn't see was the block he had on a safety that sprung Dalvin Cook for an 81-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
It's a really good article. I encourage all of your followers and you guys to go back and read it if you didn't catch it. But another thing that author says in there was there were some pieces to this puzzle that were in place with Spielman and Zimmer that when Kevin O'Connell and when Kwesi came in here, of course they want to put their stamp on this thing, right, and make some changes because changes need to be made. That's why there was a change in regime. But they recognized there were some things that they needed to hold on to. No. And I think a lot of the things they held on to are the reasons why they're winning this year. Yeah. And so it sounds like I'm giving a backhanded compliment to like Zim and Rick, and I am. I'm crediting them for
that.
And
they deserve credit for some key pieces that we have on this team.
But I think we need to credit the new regime for that as well, to have the wisdom to know, you know what, we don't have to change everything right away. We're going to change it all eventually. Right. We don't need to do it all right away. We don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? We got to keep some of these key pieces. And, you know, I think Eric Kendricks is regressing, but I also think he's a key reason why they've won some of these games. I mean, he recovered the fumble in the end zone, but he's also a great leader for the locker room. I think Harrison Smith is not what he once was, but I think he's a big reason why the team is winning. Do you think Patrick Peterson is physically as gifted now as he was 5 years ago? Definitely not. But he's a big reason why they're winning. And so I really give a lot of credit to Kevin O'Connell and crew for realizing that, knowing that there were some things they could hold on to. And a lot of those things that they held on to are big reasons why they're having success right now. I
agree. Yeah. It's definitely been like, so I feel like we made the right move with Kevin O'Connell. I know Harbaugh was in the situation as well, where supposedly there was an interview and things like that. And I was out on that. I didn't, for some reason, as good as the track record he has, for some reason, I wanted to go the other route. And not that I dislike Zimmer. I just think Zimmer didn't want to innovate and just didn't want to switch up things that he should have switched up. And I felt like we needed that younger guy to come in and kind of get these guys like Justin Jefferson, like the younger superstars we have on our team, and give them a new juice, you know, and it's showing that it's working, man, especially those locker room speeches. You can just tell it's different. Kirk Cousins wearing chains on the plane and all that stuff. Like, I mean, let's go, man. You know what I mean? Like, for sure.
I hear what you're saying, Rap, and you're right about that. And I think that's a part of the culture change that happened.
Right.
But what we need to remember is that we all loved Leslie Frazier as a guy, and we were rooting our ass off for him. But there needed to be a change. And Zimmer came in and everyone was like, this is what we needed. We need a guy who's curmudgeon-y and cranky and going to be hard on these guys because we were too nice before, right? And so we know we had 8 years or 9 years of that. And now that kind of grew stale. Yeah. And people were like, we don't need that cranky curmudgeon-y guy anymore. We need someone who's a player's guy and a younger and right. And so this thing goes in cycles, and this is going to happen to Kevin O'Connell too. You know,
that's true. And a matter of time.
And I hope for Kevin's sake, which I've heard nothing but good things about Kevin from my friends who are still with the team, you know, who would be honest with me. They all love him. And so I hope for Kevin's sake and the Vikings' sake, I hope that message does not grow stale for 2 decades. That'd be great.
Right.
But it will. It did for Flip Saunders. I think the Timberwolves made the playoffs like 12 years in a row or something, and they fired Flip right after a bad year. Message grew stale, you know, and that's part of the cycle, I think. But right now you're at the beginning of what I think is a fairly significant upswing for the Vikings, and it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, because I mean, starting 8-1 though, that's unheard of for a rookie coach like that too. The way it's been
tough thing to do.
That's a tough thing to do. You know what I mean? I mean, even just to make the playoffs as a rookie head coach, I think the percentages are very, very low. And it looks like we're gonna make that I mean, our chances of making the playoffs right now, I think, are at like 97% or something now.
Yeah, I'd say you can. I'd say you can mark that
book
one
it.
down in pen, right?
Yeah,
It's just a
yeah,
matter of
you
what
can-
seed it's going to be now.
Exactly. Yeah, you can almost book it at this point. And you know, and that, to me, that just shows a lot about Kevin O'Connell just being a natural leader. And he's put in his time in the NFL. I mean, he's been around. It's not like they just grabbed this guy from nowhere and just said, hey, you're going to be like Jeff Saturday or whatever.
I agree with you. And that's interesting to look at it that way, Rap and Dave, because we've seen, disciples of successful head coaches.
Right.
You know, I think the thing that comes to mind right away is the Bill Belichick coaching tree. But, this is the Sean McVay coaching tree, which is an offshoot of the Gary Kubiak coaching tree, which is an offshoot of the Mike Shanahan coaching tree. So, you see these successful coaches that spawn younger coaches, and they don't always do great, right? I mean, I don't think Bill Belichick has had a bunch of assistant coaches go off and do great things, but Kevin O'Connell is doing that from the Sean McVay coaching tree. And Kevin always struck me as a guy, when I listened to him speak and I watched him, who I kind of think he knows what he's doing. I kind of think he was taking notes when he was working under Sean McVay, and knowing I'm probably going to get a shot at this thing. And when I do, I'm going to do A, B, and C that Sean does, but I'm going to do X, Y, and Z my own way. And right now he's pulling all the right levers of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of coaches that actually saw failure early on and then got that second chance. I think it was actually a benefit to Kevin O'Connell that he saw failure with the Redskins. And then people saw so much in him, and then he found his way to the Rams, where he was able to prove himself, and he got that second chance. Even like Bill Belichick got a second chance. The coach in Seattle got a second chance in the
Pete
league.
Carroll. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I think that failure early, but you still have that football IQ that people recognize, and they give you that second opportunity. And what you do with it, this is amazing. I don't know what the stat is, but he's 8-1. How many coaches have started their career 8-1?
There's not a lot.
Many. I think it's a short list. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's a short list.
Tough to do that. Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
you actually answered one of my. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you answered one of my questions early before I even got to ask it. This is it feels like a special season. I was going to ask you what other special seasons were, and then you went and rattled off a bunch of them.
Oh, yeah.
But I always wanted to ask you, what was it like sitting there seeing helicopters fly over when Brett Favre walked into the building?
Brett? Oh, man, that was crazy. I'll never forget it. We had a preseason game against the Colts that did not go well in 2009. And it was
Ponder
soon after that.
Travaris Jackson were the quarterbacks?
Sage was in the mix there too. I don't think Ponder wasn't there yet.
He wasn't there yet.
And it wasn't going right. And the 2008 team won the division, if you remember. So we came into that year not with low expectations. It's like, we just won this division. It was Rodgers' first year as a starter, and the Vikings won the division, and 2009 came along, and we had a pretty damn good roster. I mean, there's a lot of good players on that team.
Yeah.
So the expectations were pretty high, and the preseason was not going great, and it kind of bottomed out against the Colts. And a couple of days later, you're right, Dave, there was helicopters flying over Winter Park and black Escalade showing up at the Eden Prairie Airport, picking up a quarterback in a private jet, and it was pandemonium. It was nuts, but it was a fun rush, and it was like a breath of fresh air, where it's like, oh, good, we're not going to go into the season with these guys at quarterback. We're going to go with Brett Favre, who had questions about his health and about a lot of other things. So it wasn't like a risk-free move by the Vikings, but it had risks to it, but obviously it had a really high upside. And we realized about 90% of that upside by getting to the NFC title game. And I think in an alternate universe somewhere, the Vikings won that game and went to the Super Bowl. But unfortunately, that universe wasn't the one we lived in.
We dominated that game bad it was for turnovers. But
I tell people, I think Brett was maybe the best leader I've ever been around. And granted, I wasn't one of the people he was leading. I was a staff member. I was not on the roster. I wasn't playing. I wasn't lifting weights and, blood, sweat, and tears on the practice field. But I was around everyone every day while they were doing that. And he's the best leader of men I've seen. in action.
Wow.
And
Okay.
it was a really special season. It felt like we weren't this, but I'm just saying it felt like it's like, you know, the Rolling Stones or the Beatles showing up to all these cities. And it's like, you got people watching us get off the plane. You got people watching us get off the bus. You got people watching us go to breakfast. You got people watching us rolling into the stadium. I mean, it was Jared Allen and Adrian Peterson and Antoine Winfield and Brett Favre. And it's just, you know, everywhere. There was just Percy Harvin guys. Percy Harvin played on that team.
Yeah,
rookie,
that's my boy.
You know, it was it was just a star-studded cast, and Kevin Williams and Pat Williams and EJ Henderson, and it was an unreal ride that it feels like an unjust ending. You know, it feels like a great season that you watch on Netflix, and it's like, I just saw the alternate ending of that. What's the real ending? I want to watch that.
And from my standpoint, it was also on a bogus pass interference call. So that got
on Lieber.
That was such a bogus pass interference call, unfortunately.
I know, man.
He had questions from the chat. Rap.
Yeah, we got some questions here. It says, what are the chances of getting all 3 home games in the playoffs? I would like to hear all you guys' opinions on it. So we'll start with you, Bobby.
Oh, you start with me. Okay. Well, if you look at, first of all, you're basically starting one step behind Philadelphia, right? Because you have the same record as Philly, but they beat you. So, so you're a half step or a step behind them. With that being said, can we agree that Philadelphia plays in a tougher division than the Vikings? Would we agree on that, guys?
Yeah.
I would have to say yes. I think that's about 100% agreeable.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
I think that neutralizes that advantage that Philly has, because they got to play Washington, who they just lost to, and Dallas, who the Vikings play this week, right? And they got to play the Giants, who are, I think they have 7 wins. So, you know, the Vikings get to play Detroit and Chicago one more time each. And so I think the fact that the Eagles are starting to step ahead by having beat the Vikings already, that's their advantage. But the Vikings had the advantage of a weaker schedule, in my view. I don't think the next 2 games are easy by any stretch, but I think the body of the remaining schedule is easier for the Vikings than it is for the Eagles. So that, to me, kind of evens out. The Vikings do not play outside until January 1st, guys. They play indoors for the rest of 2022.
Wow.
Game?
Okay, that's a good deal for the Minnesota Vikings, because you go look at Cousins outside and inside and home and away. You want him inside in a controlled environment, and that's where he will be until January 1st. That's a big advantage for the Vikings. So to me, I would probably say there's a better chance than not that the Vikings will have home field advantage. That's truly how I feel. Even though they lost to the Eagles, and the Eagles currently hold it, I think that there's going to be some attrition for the Eagles going through their schedule, and the Vikings do not have that. It will not surprise me if they're the 1 seed and have a first-round bye this year.
Let's go.
What are those chances? 55 or 60 or 65, something like that, probably. You know, I don't think it's 80 or 90, so I don't think we should get our hopes up there. But
there's definitely a chance, though. That's a fact.
Definitely a chance. And I think it's them or the Eagles. It's them
and that's not normal. That's not normal. It hasn't been normal for a while for the Vikings to be able to even have this conversation as if we're in the conversation for the 1 seed. So
it's a hard thing to do, guys. It's hard to win.
Wobby, me and Rap went on a viewing party with Eagles creators on the day of the Eagles game, and it was. Yeah, we were getting slaughtered.
Yeah, we were getting slaughtered, man. We had to sit there and take it on the
We represented, though. We represented.
We always gonna rep, though.
I believe that you did. I believe you did. And
it's on video.
As long as that was virtual, not in person, your physical safety was intact. So
it was virtual. It was virtual. Yeah, it was definitely virtual, man.
No full beer cans are thrown at us. So
we go hard, man. My opinion on it, Wobby hit the nail on the head. Honestly, for the viewers, he told y'all exactly. I mean, I feel the same way. Honestly, like. It just is what it is. We have a chance, though. That's good. I think we do have a slight advantage with the schedule, like Wobby said, because the Commanders beat them last night, which is a good thing for us because we beat the Commanders. We're a half game back, so we're only a half game back now. So that's good. I think we're only a half game from them now. So I mean, you know, if they lose. Let's see. I could see them losing 2 more games for sure. You know, because I think the Giants and the Cowboys, when they played the Cowboys the first time, they didn't have Dak Prescott, and I think the Cowboys are going to give them a shocker when they play them again. So because they almost won that game with Cooper Rush. Cowboys almost won with Cooper Rush, you know, and
the Cardinals had them on the ropes. So
so they can be exposed. And the thing is this, I want to play the Eagles again. Like I want to, like I'm with the challenge. Yeah, but I want to play them at home. Yeah, exactly. I want to play them at home, but I want to play the Eagles again.
Yep.
You know, like I'm ready to bury them, man. It seems like they killed our dreams in 2017. I mean, they beat us this year. Now, we did beat them, I guess, 2 years ago in a regular season game. I think it was 2 years ago.
I think we beat them did we beat them the next year, like 2018, like in the regular season? Like we opened the year with them, I think that was it, yeah.
Well, I can't. Yeah, I should know that, but I don't. I think didn't we open with the Saints, and Sam Bradford just completely thrashed the Saints on Sunday Night Football.
I remember that opening.
I don't remember what happened in that Eagles game.
Might have been the second game then. I don't know. I thought we played them the next year, but
I think you're right. No, I think you're right about that, Dave.
Yeah.
But
you're right about Bradford. He had a hell of a game, and we were like, "Oh yeah, it's gone," and then he got hurt.
You know what, guys? Zim really loved Sam Bradford like that.
Oh wow.
He and Sam was, God, he was accurate. He was smart. He wasn't mobile, and I think that turned some people off to him in terms of just the eye test because he didn't have any mobility. But man, that guy was accurate. So I mean, you want to see a quarterback. You know, you hear announcers say the term "throw someone open." You want to see a clinic of that? You go watch Sam Bradford against the Saints.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
My Lord.
That was a hell of a game. I remember that. I was at my brother's house watching that game, man. And I said, boy, it's going to be a good season.
Yeah.
You know, and then unfortunate happened.
Yeah.
Not too long after. But I mean, we still had that was 2017, right? Was that 17 when Keenum had to come in? Yeah. So it was still a great season. So it didn't matter.
It was.
You know what I mean?
And then that next year was 18, and it just kind of knows.
So and this is the thing. After we answer this question, Wobby, I'm gonna get right into the messy stuff. I ain't gonna lie, we ain't gonna take it too deep, but I gotta ask you about and Dave over there looking, he knows. I'm just gonna have to ask you about our quarterback. But first, before we do that, the Purple Mortgage guys, shout out to them. I actually saw them on YouTube a couple days ago, man. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to their channel as well. They got a pretty good thing going on there. I think they actually like sell homes and stuff on top of talking Vikings football, man. That's clever, man. Shout out you fellas and keep up the good work.
Check your DMs on Twitter, by the way, guys.
I've been
messaging you.
They've been reaching out to you. Okay.
I'll look at it.
Do you guys think KOC will keep them motivated, or will they start to believe the hype? Do you guys think KOC will keep them motivated, or will they start to believe the hype? I mean, you can start that, Wobby. I'm a little confused. Like, start to believe the hype, but I mean, answer the question and go off that.
Hey guys, this is I talked about this on the Wobcast 2.0 last week, and it was
there you
go. This game against the Bills, I thought was going to be a tone setter for how the national narrative would unfold about the Vikings. I thought if the Vikings defeated the Bills, no longer would the Vikings fly under the radar. They would be on the national radar. They would be in the spotlight. And I thought if the Vikings lost to the Bills, I think they already were sort of an underappreciated good team. And then if they lost to the Bills, I thought people would write them off. And they beat the Bills. So the Vikings will not fly under the radar anymore, guys. They are on the radar. Everyone saw it. They saw the catch by Jefferson, the improbable victory on the Josh Allen quarterback sneak fumble in the end zone. Everyone saw that. You know, and if they weren't watching it live, they saw highlights on Sunday Night Football and on Monday Night Countdown. Everyone saw it. So the Vikings are on the radar. They will not fly under anymore. So there is a challenge now for KOC to not let his team believe all the press that they're going to get about how great they are, and help them maintain that chip on their shoulder, maintain that edge. And things that will help the Vikings do that will help KOC do that, is the fact that I believe they opened as underdogs to the Cowboys this week.
Yeah.
And if you're an 8-1 team coming off a win like that, and you're playing at home, and they're making you an underdog against the Cowboys, that's motivation. Right. Yeah. That's what you need. So Kevin O'Connell needs to focus his team on stuff like that. As bulletin board and cliche as it might be, you need to do that to maintain that level-headedness and not let your guys get up too high.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that definitely makes sense, man. I like it. I like when they keep doubting us. I figured after the Buffalo game, everybody was going to jump on our bandwagon, though, for the most part. But not too many people are yet, though. People are still, even in the main media, still kind of standoffish a little bit. Like, well, and I think a big reason is, and that's a good segue to this, is because of our quarterback, right? Now, how did you feel, Wobby, when 2000? Because you were in the building at 2018, right? Were you
when
in the
Cousins
building?
came? Yep,
yeah.
Yep.
So what was the vibe around the building 2018 when the news broke that we're bringing Cousins in?
So if you remember, that was right after the 17 season with Case Keenum. And it was like, are they going to bring Teddy back? Are they going to bring Bradford back? Or are they going to go after Cousins? And then the 17 season in which the Vikings lost the NFC title game to the Eagles, that Super Bowl was in Minnesota. So you had Radio Row during the week of the Super Bowl in Minnesota, and there was a lot of speculation about where Kirk Cousins would go because he had just come off of 2 franchise tag seasons with Washington. So everyone knew he wasn't going to Washington. So here's this potential franchise quarterback who some people loved him and some people hated him, going to be a free agent. Where's he going to go? And the Vikings end up getting him. And I think it came down to the Vikings and the Jets at the end of the day. And when it became apparent that he was going to be the Vikings quarterback, it was a lightning rod issue. There was a lot of people who wanted Teddy. There were a lot of people who believed in Bradford. And then there were some people who thought Kirk Cousins will get him over the hump. So I felt like Kirk came in with a lot of pressure and very high expectations. Cause it's like, we got to the title game with Case Keenum, guys.
Yeah.
We get Kirk Cousins. We're definitely going to the Super Bowl. That's not how it works, though. We all know that. That's not how it works. So, admittedly, I was excited about it because I'm like, well, he, from a physical standpoint and an arm talent standpoint, he's better than Keenum. So I was intrigued and I was excited about it. That was my attitude. I'm like, let's see what this is. This is probably the best quarterback we've had since Favre. From an ability standpoint and an age standpoint. So I was excited about it when they signed him. As it turns out, the contract became prohibitive, and I thought that heavy cap hit was really a detriment to the way Spielman and Zimmer were building it. And so a refresh happened, and KOC kind of found another way around it, and now they're 8-1. So, but at the moment, I was really excited about it. When they re-signed him, I wasn't in favor of it. But maybe I was wrong because they're 8-1 right now, and I just said I think they're going to be the 1 seed. So I think I was wrong.
Yeah, let's go. And it's crazy.
Something really interesting. Yeah. You brought up something really interesting. I have never heard anybody say before. You said Bradford and Teddy Bridgewater. But you said you didn't say they were thinking about bringing back Keenum. So were they just going to let you? You thought he wasn't an option, that they were just going to let him go no matter what? And the other 2 quarterbacks for the.
By definition, he was an option, but I don't think he was in serious consideration to come back. And that was probably a little unfair to Case.
Yeah.
I
feel that way, man.
Yeah, that was probably a little unfair to Case.
I feel that way.
But I don't think he was. I think Bradford had as good a chance or more to come back as Case did to be the starter in 18. I really think it came down, though, to Teddy and Kirk. And I don't want to speak for Zim. You guys can see if Zim will come on and ask him what he would have done.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't got Zim's number, unfortunately.
I don't think he would have.
We get Zim on, man.
We'll call Zim up.
But here's why. And I think Zim recognized the financial commitment that was required for Kirk.
Right.
And was uncomfortable with that because you were robbing resources that you could have applied to other areas of the team. And I think Zim would have said, if you look at why we were good in 17 and why we made that run, let's not take anything away from Case Keenum, but was he really why the Vikings made that run, or was it their defense?
It was.
If I remember right, I think they were giving up like 16 or 17 points.
Number 1 in the league.
Yeah, I mean, the defense was stifling.
That was sick.
And my sense is there were some people in the organization who really felt like we go out and get Cousins, we're going to upgrade at quarterback, but where do we have to downgrade to make that upgrade at quarterback? And I think the downgrades happened in too many places.
Right. Yeah.
Since we're talking about that year, what did you feel about DeFilippo in that situation? We were one of the worst running teams, and we just lost our I think outstanding offensive line coach. Unfortunately, passed away that year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he actually was like the last coach to have a winning season in Miami as a head coach. He was an outstanding coach, and honestly, I look back and I think about how like historically bad that offensive line played that year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like it was like one snowball thing after another happened to us that season?
Kinda.
That we went 8-7-1, and we got rid of probably the best kicker in the league right now.
Yeah, Daniel Carlson. Yeah.
I know that's crazy, man.
It's like one bad mistake after another, it seemed.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of 2010 guys where the Vikings went to the title game in 2009 with Favre, and it was sort of a bring the band back together again moment in 10, and it just, I mean, the roof literally imploded, right? I mean, the Metrodome literally imploded. I mean, that's how bad it got, right? So
Brett Favre's arm was hurt. He was coming off the leg injury from the Bounty Gate game. It was rough.
It's like, you make your run with this group of guys, and whether you get there or you don't, it's like that's over now. That team will never be together again, and you can't try to get it together again. You got to try something else. And that's what the 2010 Vikings did wrong. I think in retrospect, Rob Brzezinski, Brad Childress, and Rick Spielman would do 2010 all over again. They would do it differently. They wouldn't bring Favre back. They'd think about Hutch. They'd think about Jared. They'd think about Pat. They'd think about everyone, and some would be in and some wouldn't be. And I think they would just redo it. And
even in 1998, the 99 team wasn't the same, and Cunningham from what I read, benched himself. Like he wasn't performing. So we went a different with George. We went with George instead.
So guys, you know what though? Not to take the focus or the lens off the Vikings, but we're talking a lot about the continuity of a team and the mojo that you have, and how it's so hard to recapture that the following year with the same group of guys. And that's why when you look at what the Patriots did with Belichick and Brady, that is so what a special time. It's really easy to hate that. I understand that. And I'm not asking, your followers and listeners and viewers to like it, but what we saw for 20 years from the Patriots, that is so hard to do. I can't even explain it to you how hard that is.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't do it for 2 seasons in a row from 2009 to 10, The Patriots did it for 20 years in a row, man.
It's crazy.
Chuck Foreman said it earlier today, and you said it earlier in the show, not for long. NFL, not for long.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep, that's right. And sustained success is so hard to achieve. So when you get teams like the Chiefs who are doing it right now, the Steelers who have always done it, the Patriots who did it for 20 straight years, man, I mean, that's respect for those clubs for figuring that out.
Yeah, man.
Isn't that the year Tomlinson was our defensive coordinator?
Tomlin.
Was it the
06.
Tomlin? It was 06. Okay.
Yeah, he came as part of
that long ago. Crazy.
Yeah, that was my second season. He came as Brad Childress's defensive coordinator, and his secondary coach was Joe Woods. And Mike Tomlin was there for 1 year, and there was something special about that man.
It was one of the best defenses we've ever had.
There was something special about that man. And then Bill Cowher, I don't remember how it ended with Bill Cowher, if he retired or resigned or whatever, but the Steelers had an opening, and they interviewed Mike Tomlin, and no one thought he had a shot at it. They thought it was the token interview for a minority candidate, with all due respect. That's what it was described as. But he stole the show, and the Rooneys hired him, and the rest is history for Mike T, right? But he was a special leader too. For 1 year in Minnesota, I could see it. I knew it. I could tell. Joe Woods is now the defensive coordinator in Cleveland. And there are other coaches on that staff who are still in the league, Chad O'Shea and Brendan Daly. and a lot of others.
This is why we have you on. You know all the names.
Yeah, well, that was a really
good
Wobby
in the building, man.
Yeah, that was a good coaching staff. Mike Tomlin was the star of it, and he's still a head coach for one of the greatest franchises in all of sports. So
it reminds me of the situation. I can't think of his name right now, but I think he's the defensive coordinator for San Francisco. Kind of.
DeMarco Ryan, is it
DeMeco Ryans?
He's because
I was high on him as being up for our job, and he backed out.
Yeah,
and now he's another good defense.
DeMeco Ryans, that's a good name, Dave. That's definitely one to watch. DeMeco Ryans was.
I think he's gonna be a head coach next year.
Yeah, he was a good player. He played for the Houston Texans for a long time. Linebacker, special teams guy, very good player. We had a special teams and standout and linebacker named Tyrone McKenzie, who Mike Prefer always loved. Told me so many good things about Tyrone McKenzie, how smart he was and how instinctive he was.
Great
good
name
leader. Yeah. And so I think he'll be a coach in this league at some point too. He's somewhere right now as an assistant coach, and he'll be a name to watch as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. But let's get into this game that we have coming up Sunday. Mm-hmm. So we kind of went back into Wobby's past, and he kind of told us some good insight. We learned some stuff tonight for sure.
I loved it.
Definitely.
I was looking forward to this ever since I emailed you for the pick 6.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
We definitely gotta start having Wobby on a little more, man, if we can.
I'm in.
You know,
count me in.
Man, this is actually a really good show, you know. And me and Dave, man, we usually unorthodox arguing and all that, you know what I mean? You got us chilling tonight, Wobby, man. You know what I mean?
You brought us together. I call Rap here the purple MLK because he's bringing all the Viking fans together. So
I love that.
We've got this group of podcasters together, and we would love to have you be a friend of the program. So
you got me in. I'm
watching you now for sure. Now that I know you're back on, and I love that Vikings app back in the day. I would just sit there out there exercising, just watching every single video you.
Oh, that's good. Hey, you know what? Those guys still do a great job churning out content.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I hope people still following them. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you set the program, man. I think they're playing out. They were extending on what you did.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you, Rap. You know, we had a good run. I had a good run with them for 15 years producing content, and all good things come to an end, and that one did. And
now some new good things starting, man.
We got your future. That's a clean looking program you got right there.
Yeah, man.
Make sure you go to the Wobcast 2.0. The Wobcast 2.0.
Yeah, definitely got to do that. Definitely got to do that. Y'all know how we do, chat, man. When we have a guest on, we got.
You already got 2 subs tonight. I've been watching.
Go subscribe to the Wobcast.
You guys are
2.0.
kind.
Oh,
3. Gotta do it.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah. But this is the thing, Wobby. So we playing. Everybody for the most part, when the schedule came out, circled the Bills game and said, "Hey," especially as we started racking up wins and we're 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, we're gonna really see who the Vikings are when we play the Bills. So we took care of business there. Regardless of how we won, people can make excuses, all the fun. So I had somebody say, well, you guys won by a fumble that rarely happens on the goal line. Well, I said, well, but you got to also remember Kirk Cousins didn't get a QB sneak that was a inch away. You know what I mean? And that rarely happens too, you know? And we were playing against the referees. That's a fact. There were so many calls. They had 12 men on the field at one point. I think that was during the sneak.
Yeah, we lost 3 yards. I think it was Dalvin Cook on.
Gabe Davis dropped the ball on the sideline.
No review.
Come on, man. Like, seriously, bro. Like, they wanted us to lose that game so bad, even the refs, and we pulled it out. All right.
And
so that just makes it that much more amazing.
Third in their division. That was so awesome. Hey, Wob, if you ever get a chance to look, he just put out a video about this Bills fan that does a podcast.
Yeah.
It is amazing. You need to check it out.
Okay, but hold on, Dave. You said the Bills went from 1st to 3rd with that loss. Is that right?
So I think they were
3rd. They're 3rd in the AFC East.
Yeah, they're 3rd in the AFC East now.
Man, that's a big.
They went from Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah, 3rd in the division.
Definitely. But so now, and I say that to say this, Wobby. Now that we handled business on that, a lot of people also, maybe you too, circled the Dallas game because Dallas is always going to get the hype. I don't understand why, but rightfully so. Their defense this year has been playing at a high level. So, I mean, rightfully so. They have the respect this year. But I just can't stand when Dallas is like 3-5 and yet they're still being talked about as they might
on
make
national TV every other week.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But this year, okay, we get it.
You can keep us off prime time. Don't put us on prime time.
Right.
At least Monday nights.
But how do you feel about this game, Wobby? What needs to happen? What do the Vikings need to do to win this game? What has to go right for the Vikings? What do we need to, exploit on just against the Dallas Cowboys? What's their weaknesses that if you've been paying them attention this season, if you do know, what do we need to do to win this game on Sunday?
Yeah, I think when I look at Dallas and I watch a lot of their games, of course, I've seen every snap of the Vikings 3 or 4 times over. When you go back and watch it back like you guys do, I think of the song "Staying Alive," right? Yeah. Staying alive, stay alive in this game.
Head to it.
Yep, right stay alive in this game. Stay away from those turnovers. Don't. I don't know if you guys follow golf at all, but a big saying in golf is you cannot win a tournament on the first day, but you sure can lose it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can't win this game against Dallas in the first and second quarter, but you can lose the game. So without losing your
I don't know, Wobby, man. It don't seem like that with this year's Vikings, man. It seems like we don't got to play into the fourth quarter.
It don't matter. We just got to play the fourth quarter.
Stay away from those back-breaking turnovers. Don't force it. Whatever your plan is going into this game, Kevin O'Connell, stick with it. Stick with your plan. You've been dialing up all the right calls, all the right plans all season long. You're probably going to dial up a good one here. You're not going to suddenly lose the ability to dial up the right plan. So dial up your plan, execute it, and stick with it, and don't force it. And really, it's Kirk Cousins. Don't force it, and this is not,
man, Wobby. I need to know how you really feel about Kirk, man. Come on, man. You're trying to get it out, man. Tell me how you really feel about Kirk, man. Because I believe it or not, you might be surprised at that how I feel.
Well, I already told you didn't want to extend him.
I didn't think they should have extended him.
I'm trying to read Wobby here. I'm like, yo, does it like what kind of Kirk are you on this side of the fence or this side of the fence, Wobby?
I like this.
The show might go on for another hour if we get into this,
and that's fine with me. I'll talk all night long, but all right. I want us to just say 2 things before
prefacing.
I want you to interject, and I want this to be a conversation, but I really want to get 2 points out, so I'll try not to ramble.
All right, let's go.
One is, to me, it's not a problem with Kirk. It's the contract, man. It is just prohibitive. I mean, it's like if I was paying 60 cents on the dollar for this, I'd be getting a steal. But paying what I'm paying for this, I don't love it.
Right.
I just don't love it.
Okay.
The second thing is, if your house is burning down and you got stuff in there that you want to go get, is Kirk the guy you're going to ask to run into the burning house and rescue your family or rescue your stuff? And I just don't think he is. Kirk's the guy who, if you got a Maserati with the best parts and the best wheels and the best engine, who you want driving it? I want Kirk Cousins driving that, because he's going to operate it like a machine. He's not going to make any mistakes. He's going to do everything by the book, and he's going to that machine is going to run super efficiently. But if we get into a crash and we got to change a tire and we got to drive on a spare and we got the cops chasing us and we got to dodge and weave, like I don't want Kirk doing that. Right. So that's my problem with him, because invariably in a season you get into a crash and you're on the side of the road and your house starts burning down and you got to get out. And so far in his career, we have not seen him be able to get out of that situation. Maybe he is changing the narrative this year. The fact that he's having a poor statistical season, but his poor relative to his average, but his team is winning, is a good sign for the Vikings. That is good. So maybe the narrative is changing. But that rap is how I truly feel about him, where it's like, I just feel like you can get so far and then you can't keep going with him. But I'm seeing things that I've never seen from him this year.
Oh, so don't use the word never. Don't use the word never with Dave, man. Don't use the word never with Dave.
it's planting seeds of optimism for me that maybe he can take the team a place he's never taken a team. We'll see.
Man, I like Wobby, man. Wobby, you my boy, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't even got to talk no more, man. Wobby, my boy. Go ahead, Dave. I know you over there. Like your back itching right now to talk. Go ahead.
Now you saw the last game with this next gen stat for I think it was for Justin Jefferson, that he was targeted 16 times and he was open once. And I think their version of what a open receiver is if someone's within is not within 3 yards of him.
Okay.
Did you like how the progression of Washington and this last game of Kirk Cousins getting it to Justin Jefferson and 50 balls? Is that what you're kind of thinking? Like he's maybe a little bit different this year?
Maybe. Yep. Dave, good point. Good point, because I think Kirk is a machine who avoids risk and gravitates toward efficiency at all costs. That's what he has been through 9 years of his career. And we might be seeing a little different side of him with them throwing it up to JJ, right? Something he wouldn't have done before. So maybe we're seeing a shift and a change. And you know what? We haven't talked about this, guys. I think Mike Zimmer's one hell of a coach, not just a defensive coach. I think he's a great coach, but he's got a style about him, the way he handles players and treats people in general, that if you are not thick-skinned and if you don't have a short memory, you may not feel comfortable around him. And I think that's what Kirk was. Like, I think Mike Zimmer can lead a team to the promised land, and I think Kirk Cousins can lead a team to the promised land, but I don't think those two can do it on the same team. They can't do it on the same team because they are oil and water in how they lead men and how they want to be treated. And so it was a bad mix. And this goes back to what we talked about earlier. I don't want to speak for Zim. You got to have him on and talk about it.
Yeah.
I would bet that if you had Zim power ranked the quarterbacks he could have in 2018, I don't think Kirk would have been number 1 on his power rankings. You know, that's just what I think based on what I saw and what I watched. And that's not because Zim didn't think Kirk was good. I mean, Kirk beat Zim. Kirk put up big numbers on Zim the year before the Vikings signed him. So Zim knew he was good, but it's not just about getting a good guy. It's about getting the right fit. And I don't think they were a good fit together. And that's not because Kirk's fit was wrong or Zim's fit was wrong. It's just they didn't fit together. And I think that O'Connell knows how to handle Kirk, and we're seeing the fruits of that labor.
I'm loving it too.
I think you're seeing the environment's different, right? Because we felt it was kind of odd that we didn't know until going into year 4, that they didn't meet in the week of the game. Like Kirk had to actually say, hey, knock on his door and say, no, we're going to meet this year every week. And now he has KOC, which they might as well be holding hands every day on the field. He's got Kirk Cousins jersey on his wall.
Yeah, I know.
From when he was with Washington. Do you feel like it's an environment that they can work together and it's an open forum, and he doesn't feel like, hey, I can, like for instance, that halftime throw against Washington right before the half, and he threw that pick, and Kevin O'Connell says, I wanted him to do that. Yeah. It was a fluke interception, a bobble or whatever, but that's the kind of play we want. And now he feels comfortable throwing those plays.
Makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, for sure it does. And again, it doesn't mean one side is right and the other is wrong. It's just they didn't jive together, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's the bottom line, honestly. Like, honestly, they just didn't mix, you know?
And like you said, sometimes you just need to move on. And like, previous to Leslie Frazier, we may have all wanted to move on from Childress, but he's a good coach, good offensive mind, and he brought us 2009, and he brought us Brett Favre. But but every time we had to move on because of something. It was that time. It felt.
I'm gonna tell you right now,
on at the right time.
I'm gonna tell you right now. When I seen that run on Sunday, when Kirk Cousins put his shoulder down,
Kirk Vick.
Yeah, Kirk Vick, man, when the run the prior week where he did that. But this week against the Bills, when I seen him scramble and put that shoulder down, man, I'm like, yo, Hey, Kirk is different. He's different this year, man. I'm telling you. I can never now Wobby. I can't say Kirk would have never did that 2 years, 3 years ago because
I had
Dave
video
doesn't
to prove
like
it.
that.
I had video to prove it.
Right? Dave thinks like, oh no, you're gonna use absolutes, but I'm telling you,
he ran a read option for a touchdown, man.
Shit like that.
He ran a read option in 2019 for a touchdown. I'm kidding, but hey, I had that tool in the tool belt against when I was talking to Chuck earlier today. I was gonna ask him. I said, who is a better running back, Kirk? This year or you? And but I didn't do it.
But I'm loving Kirk, man. I'm loving Kirk this year, Wobby. I feel the way you feel, but this year I feel a lot different because I'm a firm believer in the atmosphere, right? Like, so Kevin O'Connell, I just know like those two personalities are definitely gonna mix together and be perfect for each other. They're like a perfect marriage, right? Because Kevin O'Connell just seems like a very easy person to get along with, easy person to talk to. And I'm in the field of that, dealing with people. So I tend to know how to read personalities, right? Not to toot my horn or not. I'm just saying, like, I just know that I knew from the moment we got Kevin O'Connell and I heard him have his press conference and talk, I said, this guy is going to be perfect for Kirk Cousins. This is what he needs. This is what he needs as a coach, man.
He has been so far.
Yeah. And I had Wobby. I got Kurt as the MVP 5 months ago, and I got
he has 3 videos preseason about Kirk being MVP.
All right. Okay, Rap. Let's talk about that now. Now, can I tell you what I got one problem with that? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if Kirk's the MVP of the Vikings.
Justin Jefferson's got it all the way right on.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Patrick Peterson under the radar too, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right though, Wobby. The quarterback by default, MVP always goes to the quarterback. Justin Jefferson.
People will divide their votes anyways, and neither of them will get it.
I mean, and the big thing is, like you said, Wobby, it's the win-loss that's going on, not too much of his stats. He's 8-1. He's on a team that's 8-1, and it's like, okay,
if you and I were the defensive coordinator for the Vikings' next opponent, and they said to us, hey, you guys, you can take one player off the field.
Yeah, you're taking Justin Jefferson.
You might take Jefferson off the field before the quarterback, man.
Yeah, that's a fact. You would, yeah. Because KJ, I mean, we're not even gonna get all into the wide receiver. I got a problem with KJ for some reason. I just feel like he's always covered. I don't like it. Every time the ball's thrown to him, it's almost, unless it's a walk-off touchdown every once in a while, it just seems like he's always covered. Like every other receiver on the team can do comebacks and be like 2-3 yard separation or even a yard and a half. But KJ steadily has somebody on his hip all the time.
He was a champ last game. He that 2 yards. He got that 2 yards. That was the hardest fought 2 yards I saw.
I mean, KJ just makes it so hard. It just makes it so hard, man. But I do like him, though. I like KJ, and I wouldn't move off of him. I like the squad we have right now. I wouldn't change anything about the squad, honestly. Like, I'm super hyped.
You're 8-1, bro.
Yeah, and I'm on the purple Kool-Aid, like I said. And so I say that to say this. And we really didn't we weren't able to answer the question because I kind of jumped into the Kurt thing. It got a little exciting when I hear it because I like to get Dave worked up.
Oh yeah, we're talking about Dallas.
I already knew your vibe. I already knew your vibe, Wobby. So I had to take advantage of it. I'm like, Dave's over there like sweating. So I was like, I gotta ask him. But so I mean, again, get into what we have to do to win this game on Sunday, though.
Okay, so I think, guys, and seriously, I think what you need to do, and I mean, you got to stay alive. No backbreaking turnovers. Don't force it. The Cowboys are not going to blow you out. They're not going to run away with this thing. And I don't mean to disrespect them, but if the Cowboys win this game, it's a 17-10, it's a 24-21, it's a 2017 thing. It's a nail biter. It's tight. It's defensive game. And the Vikings got to stick to their plan, stick with it. Don't abandon it. Be convicted in what you've been doing all year because it's worked. Mm-hmm. If they do that, they're playing at home. They will come out ahead in the end. But if they get out of body, if they start forcing things, if they get desperate, and Dallas is going to feast on them. I mean, they got a pass rush. They got corners that jump routes. They got Micah Parsons. I mean, they're just going to be like a shark smelling blood. So you got to be disciplined. You got to be yourself, and you got to trust your plan. If the Vikings do that, they can beat Dallas. If the Vikings get out of body, they're going to lose.
All right. So I got to ask you then, What's the score prediction, man? I know you're saying if, but go ahead, tell us how you feel. And you got your own show, and I don't want to spoil anything because I'm sure you probably, I want people to go to your show as well, man. We're big on making sure we send our viewers and everybody. It seems like all of our viewers know you already, anyways. I mean, they love you more than us already. Yep. We might not be able to have you on no more. I mean, you're taking all the
got 8 new subs tonight. 8 new subs. Thank you guys for going to the Wobcast 2.0. We got 8 new subs tonight.
Okay, good. I love hearing that. That's good. No, we're gonna be cross contributors, guys. I can tell already.
You're welcome on anytime, man.
I feel like it's an over game. I think they set the line at 47. I'd go over on that. So I think it's 30. I think the Vikings will score 30 or 31, 33, something like that. Something like they did against Buffalo.
Okay.
I don't think they can guard Jefferson. And if the Vikings stick to their plan, I think Dalvin can rip off a bunch of long runs in the late third quarter, early fourth quarter when Dallas is taxed. So that's how I see him getting to 30. And then they got CeeDee Lamb, who, respect, speed. I like his wiggle. I think he's slippery. That's really about all they got. So you find a way to scheme him out of the game, and I think you can keep Dallas to 20, and I think it's 30 to 20. So I think it's an over game, and I think the Vikings cover. To me, the bigger challenge, honestly, even though it's a worse roster, the bigger challenge is the Patriots. Short week, national TV, Bill Belichick, Kirk Cousins. That one's got the knees wobbling a little bit, but I think they can beat Dallas.
Let's go. We got we got Wobby's official prediction, y'all. We got 30 people in the building, so y'all make sure y'all go subscribe.
Don't use this to gamble.
The Wobcast 2.0. Make sure y'all hitting that like button. You know what I mean?
This is brought to you by DraftKings.
And I gotta do this, man. Our sponsors, man, Rinaldi's Pizza. Y'all
we have sponsors.
Pizza. Y'all make sure I check out Nautical Bowls. Well, this is the perfect time, Dave, because we got the most people in the building right now. So y'all make sure I check them out. Nautical Bowls, Rinaldi's Pizza. Make sure you go in there, man. This couldn't be possible without them. They're in Woodbury. It's off Woodbury, right? Is it? I'm bad at this, right? Because I live in South Carolina
and I live in Florida. So we
Rinaldi's
have no
Pizza, 1560 Wood Lane Drive in Woodbury. All right. So tap in. Y'all tap in. All right. But let me. Well, actually, Dave, what's your prediction of the game on Sunday? What do we have to do? Go ahead and let the people know.
So you agree exactly what Chuck Foreman said earlier today, is that they got to stop forgetting about Dalvin Cook. And and thank goodness for him reminding them on that first down play for that 89 or 81 yard touchdown run. Yep. So if he keeps reminding, and Kevin O'Connell even brought it up after the game, like, I got to stick with the run. But unfortunately, there was a couple plays like where, our right guard stepping on Cousins' foot, twice. So there was some, that would kind of put us in some situations. But if I think like you, that if we stick with that game plan, that we can pull this out. Now, people aren't too aware of this. I don't hear this around. And again, it's a new season, the relative season, that we were 14th in points scored last year. We're 8th this year. We are 12th in yards. We're 12th in yards last year. We're more efficient in scoring offensively, more than the same 25 points a game as we were last year. But the league is down. So we actually got we have a top 10 scoring offense in this league right now. And I think, and just like Kevin O'Connell says, we haven't tapped into it yet. But the one thing we're not doing right now, we're like bottom third in the league in rushing with a running back that has 5 yards per carry. And I think he's leading like the top running backs in yards per carry. So get this man the ball and we'll win this thing 31-27, because I think our offensive line turned it around after the Redskins game. Yeah. I think it was Ezra Cleveland went from a 0 pass protection rating. I heard it on your show. He went from a 0 pass protection rating to like a 90-something pass protection rating. And I heard it on your show, the Wobcast 2.0. Go subscribe, man.
My man, Dave.
You learn stuff like that.
That's a fact, man. That's a fact. And I tapped in with you too, Wobby. Hey, look, I'm going to put it like this, man. This is how we win this game. We're going to win this game 34-24. This is how we going to win.
Okay.
JJ, and Mo JJ. You hear me? My boy about to go off once again. It's gonna be double time, back to back. Ain't nobody stopping them. They got Diggs they're gonna put Diggs on them, thinking that, oh, let's put Diggs on them, and Diggs is gonna get smoked out there. I promise you. So that's what I'm saying, man. I think Dak's gonna turn the ball over. I think our defense is coming together now. These guys are starting to really learn this scheme now. You can see them on a serious note. You can just see them, coming together. It just seems like we're causing turnovers in the right times too. Crucial times of the games, we're causing turnovers. And I think it's going to be more of that on Sunday against Dak Prescott. We're going to cause some turnovers, make him throw some picks, and it's going to be game changers for us. But I do want that comfortable win. So we've been doing all these predictions, and all Vikings fans are 31-17, all these 10-point wins, 14-point wins. Please, Vikings, can you give us one? Can you let us chill this Sunday, man, and be like up by like 2 touchdowns in the end of the third quarter or something, where we can just kind of sit back and say, you know what, I think our defense can hold up. We'll win this game comfortably. Please just do it for us one time, baby.
What would happen if he did what Randy Moss did to the Cowboys like they did on Thanksgiving, where he had 3 catches?
That's what's going to happen.
3 touchdowns for like 170 something.
That'll work.
That would work for me.
That'll
I don't know
work,
about you. That was an amazing game, and I bet there's going to be some people playing that video of Randy Moss against the Cowboys his rookie year, and kind of like, playing up this Justin Jefferson against the Cowboys. I'm sure that's going to happen.
Hey, look, SK, you said Cowboys are 3-0 at US Bank, but guess what? That don't mean not a dang thing this year, because I'm going to tell you what, the Bills also haven't lost a game when leading by 14 points since like 1960 something.
SK with the wet blanket.
We here to shatter all records. We don't care. We here to shatter them. All right? That's what the Vikings doing this year. We don't care about none of that. We here to shatter them now.
See, the purple Kool-Aid's flowing in rap right now.
Oh, it's been flowing since like week 4. You know that. Come on, man. I'm for real, man. It's been flowing since week 4. I felt good about this team. And look, me and Dave both started our podcast this year, February. I started in February. He started in
April 10th.
April. So yeah, we're around the same time. We started our podcast. What a great time to start a podcast, right? I think we're part of the reason, man.
Geniuses.
Me, you, Wobby. I mean, I think we're the reason they're 8-1.
Let's go.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for and Jade, we got Jade in the building. She's part of the reason. SK, Purple Code, everybody on the Purple Code family, man. Everybody, all the podcasts.
GG Sports.
Man. Yep, GG Sports, man. Purple and gold for days. Everybody, man. We all the reason, man. You know what I mean? Let's keep it real. Hey, but Wobby, man, I appreciate you being on here. I actually got to go. I want to have you on a lot more. I'm going to tell you right now, man. It's good to meet you tonight.
Call
man,
me.
For sure.
Call me. Definitely.
I'm in. Man. We're going to get you on. We're going to get you on a lot more.
If you guys
man.
want Wobby's number, text me. I'm just kidding. Wobby.
Nah. We definitely going to have Wobby on a lot more, y'all. So get used to his face. You know what I mean? Y'all make sure y'all go check him out. Make sure y'all liking his videos, commenting on his videos. Show him love, man. He deserves it for real.
Appreciate you guys.
And all y'all loving him so much, man. That's a good thing, man. I love to see that in the chat, Wobby. You got much love and respect out here, obviously, man. Everybody was excited to see you on the stream tonight with us, so makes us feel good too.
You know what? I'm not surprised, because Vikings Nation is just like that. That's how they roll, and I've loved them for a long time, and I'm going to keep loving them. So I can't wait to do this again. It was fun. Yeah, man. Appreciate you, Wob, and we'll talk to you later, man. All right, man. See you guys. All right, SKOL, bro. Hold on. Dang it. Let me just